Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thine own understanding. Hey guys, what's good? What's up? Today is Wednesday, June 10th. Is it somebody's birthday? I feel like it's somebody's birthday. I'm sure it's somebody's birthday. Anyways, what is good, guys? So today has been a whirlwind. I'm sure if you see the previous video, which I will be posting, you'll see what happened. But I'm recording this video actually for tomorrow. I'm just recording the video because I just came from a classical orchestra concert. Um, and then I'm like, you know what, Daph, you're dressed, you got your face on. And I don't want it to be that I only record when I have, a face on or an outfit on. However, I do want to take advantage of that. And that's just the reality of it, you know? Am I like centered? Am I like, what do I look like? All right, let's jump back in. Um, so yeah, and these videos, like I said, are you guys are getting them as they come. And my goal is to be consistent as possible and not just record, but to actually publish and put it out on YouTube. I just want to share with you guys what's happening, what's going on my journey. I turned 40 in, I think it's like 34 days at this point. And it's been exciting. And so today, I was talking to my brother, and like lately, I've been talking to my brother because I feel like every time I go through or I'm going through a situation, like I'd love to ask him for his input and to get his wisdom, and that's what's been happening. And so I went to see an apartment today, which again, all this is in the video before, and I don't want to go over it, but it's just to preface what I'm going to talk about. And so if, as you guys know, if you've watched like the other videos before, as you guys know, I found out on June 2nd at 11 o'clock at night. I was just randomly checking my junk mail and I found an email that said, hey, we're not renewing your tenant contract. You have to be out. You get the return of keys June 30th by 1 p.m. Mind you, I got this June 2nd. So I have to return my keys June 30th. And I looked at it and I was like ready. I was just like, who can I call to like rant? Who can I, what can I do? And I was like, you know what, God? I said, this is yours. I said, I'm not going to worry about it. I said, I'm going to text. I put an alarm to text the landlord, um, the email, and just be like, hey, what's up? I thought, it was okay that I stayed longer, or, can I extend it and stuff like that. And so that's what happened. So June 2nd, that happened. And I did text him and he wrote back, he's just like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I was like, he's like, let me see. And the next day, the next day was a holiday. And so of course offices were closed. And so he's like, you know what, let me see what I can do. And the whole time I was just like, God, this is yours. I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to stress about it. And it took me, I think, a day or two before I told anyone, or no, I actually told my boss when I went to work. Um, I was like, do you want to go for a drink? And he was just like, what's going on? And so I showed him the thing, whatever, and he was just like, he went into immediate action. And I appreciate the circle that I've been surrounded by because everyone has been so supportive. Everyone has been so helpful. I've gotten offers to sleep on people's couches, which for me, I'm like, been there, done that, not a problem, but I would rather not. But that's everything I've told people. I would tell them, and I'm just like, dude, don't worry. Like, I'm not worrying about this. It's fine. Like, God got me. I'm good. I trust the process. I'll talk to him, and I know he got me. And so, um, so yeah, so I would tell people whatever, and like the next day, the same thing. My landlord got back to me. He's like, unfortunately, we can't do anything. And he's like, but I'm gonna try again on Monday. I'm talking to my brother, and so all this other stuff. And so Monday comes, and there's nothing they can do because technically, he said, so the contract ended based on the contract. That contract ended on May 31st. My last month is here in June. He was just like, the only issue, like, not I won't say issue, but like I think the fault was between both of us, where because I wasn't active and I didn't like check to email them like, hey, like 3 months prior. And normally, obviously, 3 months, the property management should have 3 months ago, hey, Daphne, we're not extending your contract. We're selling the house, matter of fact. So you need to be out by June. That I wouldn't have freaked out. However, when you serve a God of suddenly, when you serve a God of, I got you, you don't worry about stuff like that. Oh, Daphne would have been freaking out, crashing out. I'm like, I can't believe, all this stuff. But listen, me and God like this, okay? And so, so that has happened on the weekend. And I text one of my friends and I said, hey, because she just recently moved, and I was just like, hey, who did you use to move the apartment? I need to move out my apartment by June 30th. I need to look for an apartment. And she was immediately called me. She was like, girl, what happened? Like, what's going on? And stuff. And I explained to her, and she's like, what? And funny enough, so she had an appointment, or one of her friends stopped by, and she just so happens to mention my situation. And she was just like, oh, wait. She was just like, my friend such and such is looking for someone to rent the apartment she owns. And so she calls me, and we were like three-waying, and they send me the apartment's information. And so this is like, jump on it, call her, whatever. And there are certain situations, and this is when you should not procrastinate. This is when you should not be lazy. There's certain situations where you're like, oh, I'll wait and I'll, text her, this and that. So I got the information, and then I waited like a couple of days. Like I waited like less than 24 hours. And then, something was like, Daphne, just text the lady, so I texted her, I was like, hey, this, Daphne, whatever, and stuff. And then she was like, hey, do you have time for a call? I call her, and we chit chat a bit, whatever, about our situations, what's going on, what's available, when do I need to do this and stuff. And so I was just like, well, I only have lunches today. I can meet you after work at 2:30. Great. So her and the other girl that was with my friend ended up coming over to the apartment, and we met up, whatever, so she could show me everything. And these two ladies are from Australia, and I go to the apartment and I see it, and I saw the pictures. The pictures look amazing. And then I walk in, whatever, and the place looked even more amazing. It's like an old school apartment, but it's fully renovated, new everything, fully furnished, all the stuff. And and so in the beginning, I was just like, I was sitting down, we were talking, chit chatting, whatever, and stuff like that, and I just kept thinking, I'm just like, it's like, Daphne, you ask God, God answered. Period. That's it. Like there isn't some huge thing that's gonna here. This is what it is. No, this is what it is. You ask God. You did what you could do. Because I told God, I was like, you're my lawyer. I was just like, I don't have anyone to fight for me about is this legal or not legal for them to, the lack of time they gave me to move out. And so it's just like, you ask God for something. He did his part. He provided you, you spoke to the people that you spoke to. And they spoke to people. And now here's this open door. It's up to you to walk through it. And so even when I was sitting in the apartment, I was just like, imagine people are out telling them about, they're like, Daphne, take this apartment. Like this is it. And there is nothing wrong. The apartment is beautiful, gorgeous, And so when I was talking to her, I was just like, I was like, I'm 98%, I want the apartment and something. She was just like, well, she's like, let me know when you get to 100, and which is fair, because it's like, what's the 2%? And there was no 2% holding me back. But so we're sitting on the couch, whatever, and I was just like, I said, I can move in. I said, I really love the apartment. I can move in tomorrow. Like, I'm okay with that. And she was just like, all right, let's, make it where she's like, text me. She was like, think about it. Let me know. She's like, I have someone else that wants to look at it. And I was just like, because apartments here in Vienna, they go. And afterwards, my friend called me, and everyone I talked to, they were just like, good luck on the apartment today, this and that. And normally I do not tell anyone when I'm going through stuff like this, because been there, done that. And nothing bad has happened, but it's just one of those things that I've just gotten so used to dealing with it by myself. And I hold it all in for myself, but I'm not holding nothing in now. I'm just like, release, relate, let it go. Because I feel like this is how sickness happens. This is how we overstress ourselves, we get overwhelmed, because we're holding all this stuff in and we're not sharing it. And people are here to help us. And so I'm leaving the apartment. We walk out together and we're talking and chit chatting. And I really love her energy. She's very lively and very honest. And I told her as well, I was just like, I'm honest as well. So just let me know what you want to do. We got to sign this, sign that. I said I'll automatically have the money transferred to you, all this stuff. And I was completely honest with her. I was just like, you won't get anything from me until the end of the month, because this wasn't in my budget to do anything with, because I wasn't expecting to move. And so, at the end of the day, I'm just so grateful, because like God is literally like placing me perfectly to enter my 40 new and fresh. And it's just like, this is a new thing. This is about to be a great thing. And so I'm so excited. I'm really excited. And I know he's propelling me to higher heights, different levels. And at the end of the day, you have to do your part, because what if I didn't text her? What if I didn't tell my friends? What if I just held this in and tried to go on Vilhaben, which is like or Emo Scout, which is like the apartment rental place that you go online and try to find stuff. And, you know, some people want this and that. Like the deal is to like, it's not too good to be true. It's God sent, period. So when I got home, I talked to my friend and she was just like, Daphne, she was like, if you do not confirm this apartment, you're never seeing it again. And so I texted her. I was like, "Hey, girl." I was just like, "I'm at 100." I said, "Let's go forward with this apartment." And she was like, "So should I tell the other girl to, that it's sold?" I said, "Absolutely. It's mine. It's my apartment." And so she's like, "All right." She was like, "Well, let's, organize some things. Let us." She said she needs about a week or so. I was just like, "I need a week or so too because I obviously need to move. I need to pack my things. I need to organize movers and all that stuff." Mind you, I don't know how I'm paying for these movers because I know I'm moving them by myself. Okay, I'm the princess. I no longer move my things, but I know God will provide. And I always look back and I remember how it was this funny thing where it says, like, when you praying, like you praying for an apartment, God gave you the apartment and you sitting on the floor. So it's like next time you pray that it's fully furnished. And what is it? Fully furnished. So talk like God, yes, God knows what we want and that's what we need. But when you're talking to God, talk to God. Okay, talk to God specifically. Ask Him for what you want. Ask Him, do the specifics because he's gonna go over and beyond. Because God knows my situations. You know what I'm saying? So I, if you don't take anything from today, and I'm probably always gonna say this. Take what you need and leave some for the rest. But if you don't take anything else from me, talk to God, write a vision, make it plain, trust in Him. Okay, do your part. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to do your part. You have to do your part. We ask Him, He gives us, we need to do our part because so many times we're asking God and we are leaving Him empty. Like, what can He work with if we don't give Him anything? Hmm? What can He work with if we don't give Him anything? So give Him something to work with. Like, anyways, I thought I'd share that with you guys. Um, I feel like this is part of a testimony, and I just knew a testimony was loading. And a week later, a week ago, I found out I had to move out of my apartment in less than a month. And a week later, I found an apartment, fully furnished, newly renovated, in a beautiful district, close to work, close to the gym. Beautiful, like, so yeah, do your part, talk to God. I wish everyone a great evening, morning, night, whenever you're seeing this. Hi again, my name is Daphne, and I am doing 40 to 40 videos to my 40th birthday, just sharing with you guys some lessons, some advice, wisdom, my life, whatever you want to call it. I hope you guys have a great one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Cheers. Bye-bye.